Hi and welcome to Friendly Plastic TV. I'm your host, Linda Peterson, and I'm really excited that you're joining me today because today's show is all about making jewelry and beads with baubles. This is a great technique that will use up some of those leftover pieces of friendly plastic that you have from other projects, and I can't wait to get started. So let's head on over to my workspace. You can see the variety of tools that I have here on my work surface, and for this particular project we're going to be using two different forms of heating. The first I have is the hot water method here, so I have my little skillet with water in it and it's heating up to just below simmer. If it boils, it's too hot. Then you're also going to need some form of dry heat, and in this case I have my heat tool. You can also use your griddle or you can use a craft oven, and of course I've got my cold water pan over here. But I'm going to be working on a little gold pan today, and you can see right here I have a couple of baubles. These are glass marbles that you get from the floral department at your craft store. I also have a piece of mylar foil, and this comes in a variety of different patterns and colors, silvers, golds, all different kinds of colors, real pretty. I'm going to show you how to use that in just a moment. And then I have my two basic friendly plastic tools here, my handy dandy scissors and my needle tool. And then over here you'll notice that I have a nice selection of friendly plastic bits and pieces. So gather all of the pieces of leftover friendly plastic that you have from other projects, and we're going to put them to use in this project. The first thing we're going to do for this project was we're going to apply the foil to the back side of the friendly plastic. You notice when I turned it over that it's just plain black friendly plastic, whereas the front is generally a foiled color or a pattern. And that's what we're going to use this mylar foil for. So what I've done here is I've laid the friendly plastic, this is gold, face down so you see the black, and I've heated it with my heat tool for about 10 seconds. It's vital that you use only dry heat for this particular method because the water will cause your foil not to stick. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to lay my foil. This is pattern side face up, and I'm going to burnish that down with my finger. And if you feel like it's cooled off a little bit, you can always come back in and tap that with a little bit more heat and get that to set down. But you want to make sure that the foil is completely compressed into the friendly plastic, and then you're going to actually set this aside to cool. So let me put that aside here. You can put that, either let it cool on its own or let it cool in a water bath. But I have this one ready to go. And so now once it's cool, all you have to do is just peel the top off. And you can see that I now have the foil on the front and the back. And it's okay if you're missing a little notch or two in this. It won't really show. The next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to apply this to or around our bauble. And the reason why I applied the foil is because you want something nice and pretty to shine up through this glass marble. So what I do here is I just set my marble down onto my plastic, and I just come in with a needle tool and kind of trace around. It doesn't have to be a perfect oval or circle, but you want to give about between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch border around your bauble. And now what I'm going to do, since you can see that circle there you go, I'm going to cut this out with my scissors. This is going to make sure that we have a really nice pretty back as well as front on our bauble. And just kind of double check it to make sure that it is a little bit bigger, just like that, than the bauble. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull my water closer to me, and I'm going to put this into the warm water for about 10 or 15 seconds. I'm going to let that soften up. The next step is, once we remove it from the water, we want to make sure that it's ready to go, that it's nice and flexible, and it is. So we're going to actually wrap this around our glass marble. But before we do that, I have a piece of wire I'm just going to lay right in the center. A little hard to see, but it's just right in the center. Let me back this up a little bit. And then you're going to place your marble right over the top of that. So I'm actually working the foil side, the side that I just foiled is facing me. And I'm going to fold these edges around. It's handy to have your heat source, your hot water, nearby, because in case your plastic gets a little cool, remember it gets hard when it cools off, then you can just dip this right back into the plastic and soften it again and continue working with it. So now I have it cased, and I also have my wire going through it. This is how we'll actually make a little loop here so that we can hang this. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add all of my little embellishments. So my leaves, any kind of scroll work that you have. And what I'm doing now is actually a technique that I learned from Liz Welch. She's a Friendly Plastic artist in the UK. She does wonderful classes, so I invite you, if you are in the UK or if you're traveling to the UK, her website will be listed at the end of the video. Give her a ring, get on her website, and find out what classes she's offering. But what I'm doing is I'm just taking little strips, just cutting strips off with my fingers. This is green, and I'm putting it into the water to make it nice and soft. Remember that soft plastic adheres to plastic. So now what I'm doing, I'm going to come and grab this. Looks like I had a couple pieces stick together, so sometimes that happens. I'll get this piece. And you can tell that this piece is nice. See, and it just curls around real nice and pretty. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay it, and I'm going to use my fingers to kind of swirl it around. Right. Anytime that I want to set it down, I'm just going to heat up just the areas that I need here. You see that? I'm just heating the bottom. And that way I can tack and melt those two pieces together. I've got a little swirly thing going on right here. And let's do that again with another piece of green. Generally they don't stick to one another in the water, but sometimes if they touch, they stick. So that's just kind of what happens. See, this is ready to go. And it is. So now I'm going to do this from the other side. Press it down and just kind of work it with my fingers. So remember, it's a process of hot, cold, hot, cold. Water is nice because it softens just the areas that you need softened and makes them a little more workable. Alright, so I've applied my green backing. This is my foliage area. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some little flower accents to the top. And to do that, like I said, this is take on Liz Welch's technique. But I've cut little tiny, tiny squares. They're like a 1/4 inch square of different colors of plastic. So I've got a purple and a blue, and then I've got a pink that I've colored with some alcohol inks. I'm going to plop these into the water. And you might want to just heat up the area where you're going to put these little flowers. So let's stick this. The wire also makes it nice so that you don't have to get your fingers wet, you don't have to burn your fingers. All right. So we're working with the purple, and you're going to poke your needle tool right in the center and then press it down right where you want your first flower, and then press in the center, and in the middle on each side. So give it, it's almost like a 4-petal little flower. It's a little accent there. It's so pretty. I'll show you what this looks like in the finished pieces here. Again, I'm just going to poke that down, lay that on the center, make my little leaves. You can put as many flowers on. Generally I put 2 or 3 on the top and maybe 1 on the bottom. Oops. The other thing that you can do is you can put little Swarovski crystals in there if you want to kind of give it a little bit more bling bling. So when you get all of the colors and all the flowers that you want, what you're going to do is you're going to put this into the cold water bath, let this cool up, and then after it's nice and cold, you're going to come in with some round nose pliers and you'll just create a loop at the top and at the bottom. And this is actually what you're going to hang your pendant from, and you can hang a little dangly down there if you want to on the bottom, or you can just leave it plain. But let me show you some of the finished samples that I have for you. There are just so many things you can do with those baubles in Friendly Plastic. It's really only limited to your imagination. So go grab your bits of Friendly Plastic, and I can't wait to see what you create. Be sure to email me photographs of your work. You can do that through the blog at friendlyplastic.blogspot.com. While you're there, be sure to check out everything we have to offer. There's lots of project sheets, lots of eye candy, and lots of Friendly Plastic inspiration. That's going to do it for this episode. I hope to see you again on another episode of Friendly Plastic TV. Until then, keep creating.